We sold 10 million Men in Black soundtracks, which was a big deal at the time. What we weren't focused on was that the Ray-Ban glasses that he wore actually sold more pairs than we sold albums. You know, if you stay in it long enough, you see things like that. And then all of a sudden you're marketing that phenomenon.
He's a music mogul turned marketing visionary. Before founding UnitedMasters, a platform that empowers artists to own their work, Steve Stoute was a top executive at Interscope Records, shaping the careers of legends. But his influence extends far beyond music. From launching Translation, his award-winning ad agency, to creating iconic campaigns like McDonald's I'm Lovin' It, Stoute has always been ahead of the curve. Today, I sit down with him to talk brand power, cultural capital, and the future of ownership. You are a music executive, you started UnitedMasters, you are in the branding, marketing business with Translation, you came up with the I'm Lovin' It logo essentially for McDonald's. How do all these things fit together? Do you think they're disparate or do you think they create synergies?
Certainly a lot of synergies. So the I'm Lovin' It in the advertising industry, it's called a mnemonic. It's like sound branding, like Intel Inside, ding, 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 ding. A lot of times, if you don't see an ad, you want to be able to hear an ad. So they have a sonic branding element that provides recall. But in general, to me, they all have something in common because when I started the business, I was deeply invested. The only thing I knew was how to connect things to culture. How do I connect things to kids that were just like me or kids that I had something in common with? So I wanted to make advertising work or music work. I wanted to be a fan of it first. And that was always the audience that I was trying to appeal to. Mm-hmm. And that's what they do have in common, that I felt like through my career, I was always speaking to that person that loved hip hop and loved music that was part of emerging subculture, loved to dance, and didn't like advertising that was trying too hard to sell you something. That was always my goal, to make work that didn't feel that way, that felt more natural.
How do you think brand affinity has changed? I think there's a lot of people now who are very skeptical of brands. Maybe they're looking for alternatives.
These brands are being created overnight. And as a result of that, you can't be too comfortable in your space. The barrier of entry used to be very high. In order for you to create a water brand, could you just imagine 20 years ago trying to compete in water? It's like, how do you compete with Hanes or how do you compete with, Gillette, right? But those days are over with, right? So like you can compete. We see it in beauty. We see it in fashion, obviously. That is very disruptive to the incumbent. And the incumbent had this very long position of dominance because they could never get disrupted. And now that's changed. So that's the biggest shift, that you can't get comfortable. And so, some brands that have
you work with a lot of incumbents.
So I sat with Emma Green, who's Kim Kardashian's partner in Skims. And one of the things that they realized is that when Spanx came out, the idea was always a woman wanted to be sucked in. She wanted to be thin and everything was being sucked in. Then all of a sudden it shifted where you wanted to be sucked in certain places, but you wanted hips, you wanted ass.
Yeah, so you wanted the Brazilian butt lift.
So a new brand was born that catered to that silhouette. It's easy in beauty to mark these changes because you can see how the trends move. And if you're not a brand that is lockstep with these trends and understand them, you can get left out the game.
Well, and now it's so fragmented. So it's not like everyone's drinking Coca-Cola anymore. It's like people are drinking Poppy. They're drinking all these different things. Is the answer just to keep launching more products and see what sticks, or what is your advice to these huge players?
You have to be in a constant state of innovation. A lot of the big brands, they decide to just buy these companies because they can't innovate. And then you have brands who actually do innovate. You got to be willing to do that. You got to be willing to say, let me make the thing that threatens me most.
Do you do focus group do you do focus groups, or are you on TikTok rolling?
No.
Wait, really? Okay. I feel like that's everyone's shtick. They love a focus group.
Of course, because they love finding reasons to say, this is the reason why I did it. You got to feel it.
Huh.
Other people may need that to validate their opinion. It was never something I had to do.
Well, typically people don't know what they want until they see it.
Well, from a customer perspective, yes. But from a business person's perspective, you have to have advocacy around your idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And trying to validate it with, this is what the focus group said, that will get you screwed up.
You pay attention to where the puck is going. You're not necessarily making judgments. Because you, which is frankly unique in this day and age, you really stayed out of politics. How have you done that, and how have you been able to do that given politics is a big part of the culture?
I just think that whether it's religion or politics, that those are probably two things you should stay out of.
Yeah.
Your vote's personal, my vote's personal, their vote's personal. But when you start standing and grandstanding and saying because of this, and all you have is just the first layer of information in order to talk about politics, you are using your pedestal or your soapbox or your social media box as a platform of injustice as far as I'm concerned.
I want to talk about Men in Black, because that was a formative moment for you where you kind of realized there was a lot of opportunity in branding and marketing. Tell me what you learned from that experience.
I had worked on the soundtrack for the film Men in Black, and it was fantastic. We sold 10 million Men in Black soundtracks, which was a big deal at the time. And while we were all caught up in that at the record company because it was profitable and successful, what we weren't focused on was that the Ray-Ban glasses that he wore actually sold more pairs than we sold albums. And we didn't partake in that. If I can impact culture like that with music, imagine what I could do with advertising. And that was the transition. And honestly, today, we represent Ray-Ban and Meta and the glasses that, the wonderful glasses that record and film everything that Meta has in that partnership with Ray-Ban, and we represent that. So, if you stay in it long enough, you see things like that, right? Like you start off in the business essentially by noticing a phenomenon, and then all of a sudden you're marketing that phenomenon.
While most artists sign to big record labels and lose control of their work, UnitedMasters flips that model on its head. It's a platform that helps independent artists distribute their music, keep their rights, and get paid. You make the music, and they get it on Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, wherever, and you keep up to 90% of your royalties. I want to talk with you about masters, because frankly, until Taylor Swift had the huge blow up about her masters, most people didn't even know what it was. So I would love to hear you explain that. And then you had a very novel concept, basically letting artists own their own masters.
That's a really good question. So when an artist performs a song or writes a song, all of the great music that they recorded was owned by a record company. So they would own the master and pay you a 15, 20% royalty from that ownership of that master. As music went digital, and there was an argument, well, the record companies had to put up all the money because they had to print the vinyl and the CDs. But when it went digital, that sort of financial risk dissipated. And I felt like, given that shift, that the owner should be the artist, and that the record company should then get the royalty. So that's why I created UnitedMasters as a distribution company. And
it's the reverse of the historic model.
Basically reverse and be on the right side of history. A lot of artists have put in a lot of great work and have died broke.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to pass along to their kids. And the record companies are fat and happy because they own these things in perpetuity. Look, when I did it, it was a bold thought. I wasn't the first person to think of it, but it was a bold thought to make it a statement, given the fact that I had come from the record business.
Yeah.
And I take great pride that we were there first in pushing that message, and I think that it has shifted and changed the music business forever.
It's interesting, the through line in much of your career is really empowering creators, artists to own their work and sort of be their own person. Is that fair?
Artists are very special people. A lot of what we do, right, as a business person, or you take a lot of our craft, it can be replicated by many. Great artists, there are very few of them.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they should be treated with that level of respect and dignity, and at the least they should do is have the ability to own their works.